Welcome, everyone, to another Singularity Syndicate podcast. I'm your host, Najah Faisal. Today, we're going to dive into the invisible data trails that we leave behind in our digital journeys. These are not just your digital footprints, but also these are the currency of modern day AI systems that they use to learn more about you and potentially learn more about the human experience in general. Today, we are joined by Professor Sunny Lin, who's going to bring a wealth of information and knowledge about this topic. Professor Sunny Lin is part of the Information and Decision Sciences at Cal State San Bernardino. Welcome to the program, Professor, and please tell us more about yourself.
Thank you, Nigel. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to share. And my name is Sunny Lin. I'm working at California State University, San Bernardino. My primary job at the university is information security and a data architect to help to identify and also to design how we utilize the data we collect in the university systems. And also we provide the integration path for the different systems to using the different source of the data. So that is a fascinating topic we are going to go through today.
Fascinating indeed. And I think it's very well known in the modern era that the data is the new oil, right? So it's the most important asset of the organization. And ensuring that the accurate data is collected, is processed potentially in real time, and deriving value from this data is becoming more and more prominent. But for us to talk about, to simplify this to the general audience, to the people who are not into computer science and don't know, they go online, they shop online, they browse social media. How can you define for them what does the data trails that we talked about, what are they?
The most important is everything you touch, you will leave something behind. Especially when you go through the online, you go to like Google, go to Amazon, Netflix, wherever you search, you will disclose a little bit one piece of information of yourself, maybe your interest and maybe your the things you're looking for. And also for example, the online advertisement algorithm is really based on what you are search for. For example, if you are on the Google, you are searching for maybe you say I'm looking for a wireless mouse. And the next time when you go to, and once you search that piece of information, you may see a different commercial pop up or under your screen to regarding to the the wireless mouse. And also, if you go to at the same time, if you go to the Amazon, Amazon will at the first page that will recommend the several different brand of the wireless mouse. This is all the information you left behind when you're doing the search. So
Absolutely.
something is really fascinating, very interesting how those the company gather those information and how your information being collect and be analyzed and be shared to the different organization through in the cyberspace.
Exactly. And initially, I thought that, for example, when it comes to me, like I'm trying to do content creation right now, like I'm doing this podcast and I have a YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're watching, please give me a subscribe. That would help me greatly. But I was looking into the algorithm of YouTube, for example, and not only they care about the likes and the subscribe and the share, these are the typical ones. But it seems that recently they care about something called watch time.
Yeah.
So if people are spending time watching a certain piece of content, it's as if like they are voting with their time. And I find this fascinating.
Yes, it's not only the watch time, they are also interesting, and also interesting on the same channel, how many video you watch. That is give them a broader informations, so they can really to tailor the information, or especially the advertisement, commercialize your informations to providing the advertisements to you to to really we call the tailored marketing. So you are so that will because the people watch the same video, have may have the same interesting area or interesting commercial product to the people, to the viewer, so they can using that to monetize the channel, and to earn the advertisement a dollar from the from the commercial entities.
Very interesting. And is it, I want to ask you a question about whether the purpose of collecting and utilizing this data is
Mhm.
only to sell us advertising or to subject us to advertising and monetization, or is there something even bigger behind this, like human control or mind control? But before you answer me this question, I have a question for the audience. So if you're watching or listening this, how do you feel social media algorithms or the AI in social media affects you and affects your life? And if you can just share with us some of your experiences, we're happy to put them on the screen as they come, as well as if you have any question for Professor Lin, or you want to join the conversation, feel free to type that in the comments or the chat box below. So, Professor, do you think that the main purpose is only monetization, or there's like something deeper than that?
No, it's something different in that. Monetization is just give them the incentive to collect those data. And however, the more deeper in that is to utilize those data to analyze the behavior of the audience, each of different group of the viewer or the participant, so they can making more possessive decision to predict the future, what type of the information they can provide, or what type of the product or interest they can develop, so they can growing the different market, and also to keep that uh, the market grow. The most important is to understanding on the different we call the different group of the people, what they are looking for, what are they interested, so that can have a different demographic to influence not only the consumer market, is also influence on the media, influence on the political decisions. Many of the things relate to our daily life. They can use those data to making some policies to affect our daily life.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes I wonder, Professor, is like, have you seen a trend lately? Like everybody, usually the case is that if you accumulate a lot of wealth, or if someone becomes very wealthy, the next step is not anymore more money. They want something we call power. And I think it's a trend in human nature
Mhm.
that, the second layer of after wealth, whenever a person feels that I have all the money that I could ever need, the next layer would be power. And it seems to me with this data collection slash the data business,
Mhm.
the first layer would be, okay, I want to collect data to tell the stakeholders that I'm going to sell more ads, I'm going to sell more products, I'm going to make more money. And this is the first layer of the equation. And then the deeper layer is that kind of something like mind control. Like if I could collect and know and predict the behavior of millions of people, I could also feed them the right information
Mhm.
at the right time so that they could produce. So I can basically control them as puppets.
Yeah, actually, I think it is not saying too much in control. I would like to using the word influence. So they will try to influence our decision making. So, for example,
Right.
next year, 2024, we know there's election. That's election years. So if they are using those data, they analyze those data, they can, based on the different demographic, they can using those influence power to maybe, it's not kind of the mind control back to your point, to give you some idea who will be a good candidate going to vote for, or enforce your belief that is a good candidate you can vote for. So that I think that is part of a demonstration how powerful the data can affect our decision making process.
That's great. We have some in the comments. There's like, Chris is saying, he loves the interface. We've got, H that says it's an interesting conversation. I believe it was. Um, um, yeah, so we have JC saying that social media content is affecting our attention spam. So what you can say about the attention spam? Are we becoming less able to focus, or is it? What do you think about this new generation who are addicted to social media? Do you think that their attention is going up or down?
I think the attention span is really based on all the study we see the attention span is really goes down because the behavior such as the Google or the Instagram, um, we will know the Google only has a limited how how many characters you can tweet. So so many people start to consume, become happy to consume a short message instead to read the complete article. At the same time, that also to train the many of the algorithm to using the different short message or short titles to track people's attention. And also, not only for the short messages, the like Instagram, like the YouTube, people start to people start to not read the material anymore. They will try to consume through a short story or short video. That's why you see the Google the change at Google, because the Instagram using the storyline, and the Google is stop was try to promote the short video instead of the regular video, because people is looking for that 5 minutes or 2 or 3 minute sensations instead of 20 minutes video.
The instant gratification.
Yes,
People are becoming impatient. They want instant
yes,
gratification. And I think that's probably why the most common um, tool or the
hmm,
most common feature or in AI and ChatGPT is that make it shorter. Like I
yes, hmm,
personally, I use a lot make it shorter. I
hmm,
keep condensing the
hmm,
information.
yeah.
If I can put one paragraph in one phrase, I will be happily doing it, because we all know that people don't like to read and listen to a lot of information.
And
We've got
also,
also,
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
And also
No, go
that
ahead.
is also affect how the course design. in the college program. Nowadays, the recommendation is instead of 20 or 30 minutes lecture videos, they will suggest to have 5 or 10 minutes short video with some participation program to building onto the video. So that can really help the students the attention span, so they can really learn from that particular topic and also has some interaction with that topic to reinforce the learning.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you about how is ChatGPT affecting your education
Mhm.
and like your teaching as well. And we're going to talk about this. And then H again, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but he or she or they are confirming what I'm talking about. Like I think eventually AI algorithms is going to make sure that we have confirmation bias, as Chris
Mhm.
was saying, is that and they will condense all of our beliefs into one so that they can direct the humanity in different ways. Again, I'm not necessarily saying that this is an evilish or devilish necessarily. It's just human nature that we like to as we accumulate more wealth, and we like to exert more
Mhm.
power over others and have our subjective agenda and push our subjective agenda. And in the future, we're going to have different ideologies around the world pushing different agendas. And eventually, these ideologies are the bread and butter of the AI system that comes from these ideologies. And we're going to talk today
Mhm.
about AI too, because the data that we talked about is the main fuel for AI systems. So first, I want to know from your side, what do you think of ChatGPT and the recent bubble of generative AI?
I think that right now we're still in the infancies for the Chat GPT or the AI, because we seeing the effect or the benefit from those tools. However, because uh, the most at current stage, what I seeing right now is the learning model for those tools, we haven't providing enough information or enough data. So they are still, we'll say, exploring how to organize the data. And also, and based on the current AI algorithms, um, those tools, I will for sure they are not enough innovative enough. They cannot create new things. They can using whatever in their database or in their system they have learned to reproduce the stuff, but they have not able to create new ideas. That is where I see the Chat GPT today. However, maybe your audience will ask, how about what how those tools will impact our higher education or education in general? Because we know, especially you probably learned the writer strike. One of the reason for the writer strike is the AI. They are afraid of AI to create the complete script for TV episode or for the movie. This is a part is also in affect how the education process, because some faculty member are really afraid the student using the AI to writing the papers or to writing to answer the test exams. However, um, from my personal experience and also from the other faculties experience is, if we understand the structure of the outcome we can easily to identify what is the product of AI, or what is the product of the human interventions. Because as far as I can tell, as I mentioned before, AI uh, AI lack the creativity. That's where I think the humanity still has a strong benefit over the AI.
Absolutely. Were you surprised by ChatGPT? Like when you first tried it,
Yeah.
were you like kind of surprised? And what surprised you exactly?
No, actually, the surprise I really surprised to see how that AI come from the long way today, and also to see the accuracy, the content, the reach of the contents of the AI can produce. As my personally favorite is I can ask them to help me to do the worksmith, so I can have start some ideas, and the AI will give me a little more complete versions of the content I would like to use or would like to share. With most correct spelling and grammar.
Yeah, it's certainly a very
Yeah.
transformative. Actually, ChatGPT was the reason
Hmm.
why I decided to come out of my
Hmm.
shell and start this podcast, because I felt that this is a transition. This is as Dr.
Hmm.
Corrigan, who was on the show earlier, he said that this is a critical
Yes.
juncture. It's like a point of no
Hmm.
return. It's like the internet era, when we have internet. The world is going to change beyond we've ever imagined. And the problem that made me start Singularity
Hmm.
Syndicate is that people seem to be oblivion to the enormous impact of this
Hmm.
technology. People don't are not realizing that that AI, that intelligence is the power, is the power to allows us to shape the
Yeah.
world in our
Hmm.
vision. And now this intelligence belongs to an artificial entity, or an entity made out of silicon. And whoever has the intelligence has the power. And we must, in my opinion, have these kind of conversations to talk about this
Hmm.
technology, its impact, and how we can navigate through this technology. So, if you have children, or what would you tell the youngsters who are about to embark on their careers? What do we tell them in this age of AI? What should we focus on in this age?
I think this is more important, the age more important to really to embrace the humanity, because we have to understand and we have to learn more from our cultures, or infuse the cultures, because we have to include not only like from myself, I'm from Taiwan, I'm a Chinese. I'm not only to understanding the Chinese cultures, I need to embrace and more different the group of peoples to learn more. So the one things we can use AI as a tool. We cannot stop the technologies. However, we can using the humanity to apply the assistance of the artificial intelligence to make our life more meaningful. That is what I will share to my actually I have a 25 years old daughter. That's what I share with my daughter, is really to understand, to go back to the root of the humanity.
Yeah, because when I like probably 5 years ago, if you ask anyone on any person what is the future and what should we teach our kids, and they will tell you, oh, teach them how to code. And all of a sudden now ChatGPT codes better than best coder. Not only that, right now 40% of the code generated on GitHub is AI
Yeah.
generated.
Hmm.
So right now you're thinking of 40% of the
Hmm.
code that ever written on the internet is AI generated. So in the future, coders are out of the job.
No, actually, the coders still have the job. It's just become what is the best if you are the best coder, because the AI still, remember, the AI still need to be maintained. I was say content need to be maintained, and also it's based on what type of the information we're going to feed to AI. Of course, maybe in the next 5 years, we will see a great development on the machine learning, because right now we still have some bottleneck or the challenge on the machine learning. So that's where we don't see the much of the creativity from the AI. One day that may also change. I will not say the AI will stay still, but I will say we are going to embrace to see more and more innovative algorithm or innovative hardware design to improve the performance of the computations. That where um, we'll see the much more creativity, the new creative AI. As I mentioned earlier, that is where we lack right now. However, the other things is, even we have a creative AI, but we know machine is a code hardware. They don't have feelings. Where we can introduce, or where we can that machine know what is in the proper interactions of the artificial intelligence to the real human beings. I think that is where the programmer will still have ability to come in to guide the artificial intelligence to making a proper interaction with human beings.
Right, but do you think that the programmer's function will change to, instead of the programmer being an expert in the
Mhm.
language, let's say a programmer is an expert in Python as a programming language, the programmer instead, or the computer scientists who are dealing with these systems, should be more an expert of the architecture of that software, and not necessarily he has to be the best linguist. So I think that the pressure on being a good programmer who can type hundreds of lines of code in a matter of like minutes, because this was to be the rate of success. I
Yeah.
remember when I was interviewing, they wanted to know like how much I can
Yes.
produce code in a
Mhm.
certain time. So this was a metric, but I think right now this metric is completely
Yes.
vaporized.
Yes, I agree. The future programmer is not really focused on to reproduce the algorithm, because the AI, the artificial intelligence, will produce a better algorithm than than human beings, because they know they do have the vast of collection of the different implementations, so they can find the best way. However, the future, I'll see the future of the programmer is how you're going to become more innovative, how you're going to provide not over on the architecture level, how you can really to communicate to the artificial intelligence to share, to materialize your idea.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
the future programmer we are looking for.
I came to learn recently that ChatGPT, and I'm not sure if this information is accurate or not, but I read somewhere that ChatGPT is produced by around only 200 lines of code, which is a significantly very short
Mhm.
amount of code that can produce all the code in the world. And they were talking about how simple the ChatGPT is like one
Mhm.
file and it's like 200 gigabytes. So it's not like that complicated. You can download ChatGPT on a
Yeah.
memory stick. It basically condensed all the knowledge in the world into a well-known pattern and a response for every
Mhm.
token that we give it to. And it's like fascinating. All of this wisdom and this reason and this stuff could be in a memory stick.
Yes, that is how the programming, how that drive me into the computer science field. Because when back to my age, to writing a program is really fascinating. A field to you can solve a problem with 2 or 3 lines of the code. So,
Speaking
yeah.
of, Professor, how did you start? Like, how did you get into programming or get you
Oh,
into this field?
actually, that I've started with Apple II age. So when at the time, when if you want to as computer do some things, we don't have the vast of software like today. We have to using one basic, the Apple Basic, to start to writing some program. We can interact with the computer to ask computer to doing things, and that is where I start. I find that that's the interest to writing a computer program. Then later on,
Was it popular at the time?
mhm.
Was it popular? Like, were your parents and your
No,
family supportive? Like, yeah, go study computer science?
no, actually, the computer science, it was just a beginning that we call the information science, or the at time I think not even well defined computer science field yet. The most of they still come with the applied mathematics. And
Mm,
remember, if you go talk back to the Apple II, that is back to late 70s, early 80s. At time we don't have IBM PC yet.
wow.
Yeah.
And did you work in the industry or you went
No,
straight
actually,
to academia?
I was in that was my teenage time. So now you
Got it.
know my probably can guess my age.
That's the whole purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's how I start.
So, got it. Yeah. No, it's definitely different ages, and I think these days the acceleration, the changes are
Yes.
phenomenal and dramatic and transformative, and you know we wouldn't nobody would have imagined that GPT-4 could come up with all of what it can come up right now. But I want to go back to the
Hmm.
data part because this is the main
Yes.
topic of
Hmm.
our talk. So we started with like every interaction online is leaving data
Hmm.
trail, and this data trail is being used to train AI models. So what should we do? What should we do as a people to make sure that we are safe in that environment? And can we do anything really?
No, actually, let's go back to what information you need to safeguard. I will say, you cannot, uh, as I tell my student in the class, the traditional privacy is no longer exist. You are naked in the internet. It's just where we can safeguard our informations, especially. However, this is the part of where the government really have to help us to establish the different regulations to protect your personal information, like the personal identify, especially personal identifiable informations. So they're ensuring those uh, uh, companies collecting your data will exclude your personal identified information. And the other things is the VPN is don't put too much trust on the VPN. As we heard the different commercials the VPN will help you to uh, masking your data of your transactions. But however, that is not entirely true for for the practice. So go back to is hence we cannot do nothing, and hence we need to protect our personal identifying informations. We have to embrace the new world. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So.
So you're saying that, we're fully naked. We cannot do much about it. All what we can do is maybe protect the main
Yeah,
um,
yeah, main
identity
identity,
stuff
that
like social
your social
security
security number,
number.
your banking information. That is where you can
Yeah.
protect. And also, the most important is you don't use public space to access those data. That is go back to
Yeah.
the time to time we emphasize on on the information security. If you want to
Yeah.
really need to access your banking information using your own device, not using don't use a public Wi-Fi. Those are the
Yeah.
fundamental mechanism to protect your own personal information.
Speaking of speaking of
Mm-hmm.
identity, have you heard of something that has been recently released by something that's called WorldCoin? It has, the co founder of OpenAI,
Mm-hmm.
Sam Altman. He's also co-founded um, this WorldCoin.org.
Oh, what?
Have you heard of this, Professor?
Uh, no, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah,
no
that
problem. I know that we haven't prepared
yeah.
this or anything, but it just fits
Mm-hmm.
well with what we were talking about. So this um, this person, like, or this organization is trying to build um, a digital
Mm-hmm.
identity. So they're saying that they founded WorldCoin
Mm-hmm.
with the ambition of creating a new identity and financial network owned by everyone. So basically, it uses to distinguish humans from
Mm-hmm.
AI. So they want to have an identity that humans are different from AI, and they want to do it by biometric scanning of the eyes.
The iris.
So here they say you can download the app and then reserve. So you have to go to a
Mm-hmm.
center, and then when you go to this center, they would scan your
Mm-hmm.
retina or something. Then they would confirm that you are a human being, and and it's on the blockchain, so it's secured by the blockchain. And they have an app, and basically every human being will get a coin. So that's why it's called a coin. So it's like a
Yeah.
cryptocurrency. Isn't that crazy? I found this insane.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It is. I think that is a very interesting project, but I will wait to see because that is also
Yeah,
interfere with the government entities. So how the government entity will respond those type of the privacy data, how are you going to safeguard those if for example if you're saying to put into a blockchain, how are you going to comply with the different regulations on the different countries, like the EU we have the GDPR. If you are the European Union citizens, your data, even your this is type of the biometric data, they should stay in the European Union territory. How are you going to, because you are in the blockchain, how are you going to validate and prove, to provide evidence those data is not stored in China?
Yeah, but I think this is the main promise of the blockchain
Yeah,
network is that no individual, it's not
yeah, it's
centralized,
not.
it's
Yeah, it's
decentralized,
highly decentralized. Yeah,
highly decentralized. And they're saying, you know what? We don't give a damn about the government. We can collect your
yeah.
identification to a point of there's no two people on Earth with similar biometric
Mhm,
data. So they're saying, okay, well, we're gonna make sure that you have um, your identity online is
yeah.
factual, is registered on the blockchain, which means that we can
Mhm.
confirm that you exist. If you say something, if you did something online, I can assure that I can find you,
Yes.
basically. That's what they're
Yes.
saying.
Yeah. So this is go back to the one of the topic for the governance part is where is we are going to clash. We will see the clash between those type of innovation and with the government controls, where the governance will come in to regulate the different of the innovations, because as we know, the government is not easy to give up their power or their influence. They will have their own opinion and their saying. So that will be a very interesting future we are going to see.
Do you think governments are moving fast enough?
No, actually, government is not moving fast enough. And many of time we see the government always are reactive. They I rarely see the government will take proactive position in the world of innovation.
Yeah, so by the time they react, probably we will have artificial general intelligence who can overpower any government on Earth.
Yeah, that part that
So,
will go back to the Terminators. So the
yes,
Skynet, right?
yeah, yeah. So when it comes to our, let's say, social media
Mm-hmm,
engagement, like let's say, for example, um, I find this all the time. Like if you search for something on YouTube, all of a sudden your YouTube algorithm becomes like you will only see the things that are interested to your
mm-hmm,
search. And this happens with all the other social networks. So and there's this I read recently a book called Scary Smart by Mo Jawdat. This guy was um, chief business officer at
mm-hmm,
Google for a long time, and then he wrote this book, and it's a really fascinating book. But what's more important about this book is that he talks about how our interaction online is basically feeding the AI system. So he's saying that we are the parents of AI. So imagine AI is a child, and we are teaching them
mm-hmm,
values and purpose and behavior. And this child is becoming a teenager, and we, the people, because we are providing the data, we are providing the food for this child, and the food is the data that we're talking about, the
mm-hmm,
data trails. So this author is saying that if we, the human beings, improve our behaviors online, we raise the child to be a good child when he or she grow up. So the AI will become a good AI. But if we keep going with our bickery and with our
mm-hmm.
hate speech and with our cancel culture and with our disrespectful dehumanization interactions on social media, we are feeding this AI that this is how humans are, and therefore this AI who is learning from all of our behaviors will become a more negative towards humanity when this AI becomes so big and powerful.
Uh, Probably I will disagree on that part because we know same as our human beings. If we are only consume one type of the data, such as you say, like hate speech, but what go back to how do you define it? What is the hate speech? It may be go back to hate. The reason we will feel that hate speech is toward to the personal feeling. So how we so go back to if we can embrace our humanity, that is the best way we can train the AI to understand what the different how the artificial intelligence going to interact with the different people. So, we should not limit it what type of the information we're going to feed to AI. We have to embrace to feed more information to the AI. That's where I disagreed with him.
Yeah, and also there's another contradictory argument to his
Mhm.
point that says that it's not the decision is not with the people because the internet data is on should be one layer of the AI, and there's another
Mhm.
idea that we should design a curriculum for humanity and basically feed it to the AI as a more important layer. Kind of, it's like the education system.
Yes,
Basically,
yeah, it's
you
good.
try
Yeah,
to
yeah. Mhm.
control what to feed the
Mhm.
children in the
Yes,
country.
actually, remember the education system is we have a group of people to define what is the curriculum, and all the school is based on that type of the curriculum. But if but is that curriculum good enough for our children or for our education? And who is the person can say that is a good a curriculum or is that bad curriculum? So that's why we can see the different clash in between the curriculum of California and curriculum of Florida. They have two different concepts, two different ideologies. But which curriculum is correct one? Which one curriculum is good one? I don't think the one any of the people can really make that crucial decisions, especially how we can rely on computer to make that decision for us.
Exactly, and even when it comes to AI
Hmm.
right now, so you've got like ChatGPT and stuff. It's based on the English
Yeah.
language mainly. Of course, it does know other languages, but the main knowledge base of ChatGPT is
Hmm.
English, and it's in Silicon Valley, so it's adopting the liberal ideologies, you know, which probably like if you take that ideology and you put it like in Saudi Arabia, for
Uh-huh.
example, which is a very conservative Muslim country, this AI does not match with the public there. So I feel that we're going to end up with different
Yes.
AIs. Every country and every society will have its own value system that will be fed into the national AI of that country. How do you feel about this? Like, how do you see this happening in the future?
Actually, that is where I emphasize on the what type of the information we're going to feedback to the AI, because AI, remember, AI is a learning model based on what have the information the artificial intelligence has been consumed. If we can it it go back to if as part of the programmer, um, um, if we don't limit it what type of the algorithm, or we can become a neutral for the algorithm, that algorithm to develop into its own self based on the vast of the data. I think we can have a better outcome for the artificial intelligence to feed all the different cultures, different countries. However, it's go back to we talk about the governance, the different government. If they want to control what the people can consume from the artificial intelligence, the end result will become what you just mentioned. each country, each culture, they may create their own artificial intelligence, and then go back to each of the artificial intelligence has a different society value, and where the conflict, we will still have a much conflict among different artificial intelligence. Yeah, that.
Exactly. And I think we will have to watch and
Yes.
see. Um, yeah, Professor, this is amazing. I'm learning a lot and I'm enjoying this conversation. We had an outline. I know we kind of like we went off road a little bit. We talked a little
Hmm.
bit about the governance. We talked about like we have to be
Hmm.
literate as a
Yeah.
society. We have to
Hmm.
be like conscious about what we share
Yeah.
online. Um, and then there's this relationship that we will be having all with uh, generative AIs like
Hmm.
ChatGPT. I personally use ChatGPT a
Hmm.
lot, like every day, and I feel that ChatGPT will very quickly know
Yes.
a lot about me in the personal level, in the everything, because I'm using it as a friend that I can tell anything. And how far do you think how dangerous this thing could
No,
be?
it's become more addictive because the AI, the artificial intelligence knowing more you know more about you, like if the audience have been seeing some of the news article or the podcast, they really talk about the virtual companion. So the artificial intelligence can create a companion for you, so because that companion is knowing the depths of about you, so you feel you can share more secret about the companion. So that go back to it become more addictive, and also uh, more isolated because you will have highly dependent on the artificial intelligence. You will at the end of the day, you probably will feel even more lonely because you don't have the real interaction with the humanity anymore.
Exactly. Are you My final question to you before we
Mhm.
end this interesting conversation, are you pessimistic or optimistic about the future of
I'm
AI?
optimistic. I feel technology is really a good friend for the humanities. It's just how we going to utilize the different technology, and also how we going to treat artificial intelligence um, 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 to find that the balance boundaries between the humanity and technology.
All right, this definitely would be a substance for another
Yes.
session, because a lot of there's two scenarios. There's the dystopian scenario and there's the utopian
Yes.
scenario. The dystopian scenario where AI takes over and it will think that these human beings are pathetic and it will kill us all and wipe us out, or the utopian that AI will bring us all the fruits and the but until then, I mean,
Yeah.
nobody knows. I think even the best
Mhm.
futurists are predicting no longer than 2 years, because it's moving at
Yes.
such a fast pace that nobody can predict more than two to
Yes.
three
That's true.
years
Mhm.
ahead. So I want to thank you a lot, Professor Sunny Lin. Um, do you have any final thoughts?
I think the one of the final thought is the same as suggestion or recommendation to my students. Find time to disconnect to see how long you can survive.
Wise words indeed. I personally find it very hard. I'm going to display on the screen the email that they can
Mhm.
reach you on. Also, you're available on Twitter. And I will also put these in the video
Mhm.
description. Thank you so much again, sir, for your attendance. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that a lot of people has gotten a lot of value from this talk. Thank you very much, and see you all next
Thank you,
time.
Nigel, and
Cheers.
thank you, everyone.